Hi, welcome all of you. So, in this short video I am going to show a demo of the platform that you are going to use for the exam. So, the platform that you are using for the exam is going to be different from what you have been using for the online assignments. So, for the online assignments you have been on the internet making submissions. For the exam you are not going to be on the internet, instead you are going to use an exam portal that was custom designed for this programming test. So, what you will do is when you go to the exam center and when you go to your desk, you will see a screen like this which will prompt you for username and password. So, I am going to put a dummy username and password that was created for this demonstration purpose. You will have to put in your admit card number and a password that is given to you at the exam center. So, once you sign in, it will take you to the screen which is asking you for identification. You can check all the details, ensure that this is the person, you are this person that the system is assuming you to be. You confirm that and it gives you this message saying you can start the exam now. So, what you will see in the first screen, if you scroll and check, this will be the instructions for the exam. So, this specific screen is not the final exams screen, but you will see a screen like this. You will have enough time to read through this before the exam starts. So, once you read through this, you will be taken to another screen where there may be other special instructions. As of now, these special instructions are blank. If you are done reading both of these, you can click on this one at the bottom. I have read and understood the conditions and whatnot. Once you do that, you will get this blue screen, I am ready to begin. So, the thing is, I suggest that you read both these screens thoroughly and carefully before you click and start your exam, because these are very important instructions, and if you fail to follow some of these instructions, it may prematurely end your exam. So, be careful about that. So, I am now ready to begin the exam. So, when you are ready to begin the exam, you will see three panels. So, there is a panel on the left side which says question number. There is a panel in the middle which is actually a window that is editable, and there is a panel on the right side which shows the actual number of questions. So, what you will see is the questions description will come to the left side. In this case, this is question number 1 and there is a description of the problem here. I can go and type the solution to this in the middle window. So, you can see that I just edited the lines here, and to the right side you will see the actual questions that are there. So, in this mock exam we have set up 10 questions. So, you will see that there are numbers 1 to 10 and it started with question number 1. So, the question number 1 is lit up as red color. So, this question is write a program to check whether a given number is prime or not. Right. So, that seems to be the program here. So, for this program I can go and write write a solution here. So, let me show you that. So, this problem description assumes that you are going to read in a number. So, let us assume that the number that is being read is num, and I am going to write, so I am going to first scan the number. Once you are done scanning the number, then I can run a loop which goes from I equals 0, I less than n by 2, I plus plus. I can check for whether this is going to work or not, whether the number is a factor or not. So, essentially you can see that it allows me to essentially run the type the program up. So, this program is not a complete program. So, I have typed some of this up, and at the bottom you will see that there are 4 buttons: compile, submit code, reset and next. So, at this point let us say that this is my solution and I am ready to compile. I can click on compile. You will see on the left side that it says code compilation is in progress, meanwhile attempt the next question and so on. So, let me move on to another question. So, when you go to another question, the first one that you fired is still going to run. So, there is no problem, that will keep running. You can go and look at other questions. So, in fact, we suggest that you go and look at other questions if the compilation is in progress. So, do not frantically click on compile and submit and so on, because the system is going to take some time to react, compile and give the details back to you. So, let us say I move to this 4th question. In this 4th question it is asking for write a program to calculate the area of a circle. So, I can go and write a small program here So, let us say I write a small program, and as I do this I may realize that the other program might have compiled now. So, let me go back and check. So, the system allows you to go back and check, and now it says there is some error here for I equals to 0, there seems to be some error there. So, this n, that I have used n here, so I am going to put num, and if you notice I am not pressing save or anything anywhere, this one is automatically saved every time. So, I am going to compile this once more, but meanwhile I was solving problem 4, I can go back to that and solve it. So, if essentially by allowing you to go back and forth, it is going to help you in the exam, because if one question is compiling, you can go and actually try and do things on the other questions. So, let me write this program. Again I can fire a compile here and go back to look at the first questions thing. It says compilation is successful. So, just because you have compiled, it does not mean that you have submitted the code. So, you have to explicitly click on submit code, and again it goes through a process by which it is going to take some time for this to work. So, meanwhile I will go to compile problem 4, I am going to submit and maybe go and look at another question 5. So, now let us look at this small new feature. So, what you have is in this question, when I clicked on the 5, I got this template. This is something that I have not talked about so far. So, if you go and look at this, there is automatically some piece of code that comes up, and the interesting thing about this window is that, let us say I write some program, let us say I wrote some program, and for some reason I am not happy with this program, I can click on reset and that will take me to the template. So, I wrote some program, but by clicking on reset it will take me to the template. So, anytime you make a mistake here, you can click on reset and it will give you the template that is supposed to be there. So, let us now go back to problem 1. So, problem 1, now you can see that for the test cases that are given, there is some message that is given, your code does not pass all the test cases, and it shows me all the different test cases that are out there, and it shows the status. In fact, there is a small arrow that is there, if you click on that, it shows you something more. So, it says these are the test case numbers, these are the actual inputs, this is the expected output, and the obtained output is, actually I did not print anything, so that obtained output is nothing. So, all the test cases failed. I can dock this back in. So, if at some point of time if you are unsure what is happening, whether the test case is passed or not, you have to click on submit, and this window will come to the left side, but you can click on this one to pop it up. So, let us go to question 3 now. So, question 3 or question 4 was about radius. So, here again I seem to have passed one test case, but have failed other test cases. So, if I expand, I can see that for, so this is 200.96007, but I printed 200.96000 and so on. So, it seems to have failed some test cases. So, one of the things you can see is that it is looking for exact matches, it is not looking for a number that is close enough or something, you have to have exact matches with the expected output, otherwise you will get fail. So, let me go to question number 5. So, question number 5, I told you that this on clicking reset I got the template code and I am allowed to edit that. Now, I am going to talk about another feature that is useful for conducting the exam. So, if you see this window here, I have not talked about this. This is a window that you can drag around. It will have two buttons, one which says start the debugger, the other one which says show the debugger. So, these essentially we are going to give you dev C++ as a debugging environment. For whatever reason, if this online platform thing, this platform is not sufficient for you, because this is not giving you any feedback, it is only telling you whether test cases passed or failed, right. If you want to sit down and debug the program, this online thing will not help you there. Instead, you can fire the debugger and you can open a new file and you can do whatever you want to do here. So, if you want to run a program, write a program here, you will be able to do that. You can see that you are getting things like syntax highlighting and whatnot. So it gives you the complete debugger that you are probably used to by now. And if you want to go back to the exam window, you cannot do alt tab or anything. So several keyboard combinations are going to be disabled during the exam. Instead, if you click anywhere outside the debugger window, it will take you to the main exam. So one thing that that is there as a feature is that if you want to copy and paste from this exams editor window to the debugger, or from the debugger to the exams window, that is possible. So let us see how to go from the exams window to the debugger window. So if you see the right top of the editor, you see there are two documents. If you hover over that, it says copy content. So when you click on that, what happens is the complete contents of the editor is copied onto the clipboard. So right now the debugger goes to the back end. So if you click on show debugger, it comes to the foreground. So now in the debugger, you are allowed to press any key combination. So I am going to press Ctrl V. The Ctrl V has copied from the template onto this debugger window. In fact, if you have written some program there, for some reason if it did not work, you can copy to the clipboard from there and bring it here. So for doing the other way around, let us say I want to copy from the debugger window into the examinations window. So let us say I have typed up this one. So I can do Ctrl A, Ctrl C here, click outside the debugger window, it takes me back to the exam window. So here I can delete everything. So I am pressing Ctrl backspace to delete everything. This editor is limited, it will not let you do a lot of options. You cannot do Ctrl C, Ctrl V, Ctrl home, Ctrl end, things like that, which will allow you easy navigation. But you can paste from the debugger window onto this. So in the debugger I typed printf hello, so it now says printf hello, right. So in summary, to copy from the editor window to the debugger, you click on this copy content, and if you want to copy from the debugger into this editor, you Ctrl C there and you do Ctrl V here. At any point of time, if you are in the examination window, the debugger window will be at the back end and it will not be shown. If you want to bring it to the foreground, you have to press on show debugger. So let me save this. So what I am going to do is I am going to save this as trial dot, let us say C. So I am going to save this as a program. Once I have saved it, I can compile and run it. So one thing is, like I said, we have disabled several key presses. So all the function keys are disabled. So you have to use the mouse. So I am going to compile. So in this case, this is just a program which will print hello. It compiles fine and I can run it. If you run it, you see the familiar black window. You must have seen this if you have used Dev C++ before. It shows the familiar black window. In this black window, you can go and look at various things here and you can debug everything locally. Once you are comfortable with this program, you can go and put this program back in the main window. So I can press Ctrl A here, copy, and I can go back and do a Ctrl V here. So this is what you should be using, and since we have limited what keyboard access you are going to get, be careful about copying back and forth. Always remember that reset will give you the original template, it will destroy everything that you have written. So we recommend that you go and write the program in this editor, but if you want debug support, go to the debugger, save the file, don't leave it as unsaved, save the file, compile it, ensure that everything is working fine, and then come and copy that code back onto this window. So in this question paper, you don't see any test cases here. So the test cases came up only when I clicked on submit code, but in the exam you will see that the public test cases are either available as part of the question or available as part of the template. So from the template, you will be allowed to copy and paste it into your programs as well. Into the debugger you can copy and paste and so on. So remember, pressing compile is not sufficient because it will only compile it and not submit it. Only when you submit the code, it will go to the back end and it will get evaluated. So as we do in the regular homework assignments, the private test cases are there and they will get evaluated. if you are confident that this is working, you submit your code, you can make these submissions any number of times though, there is no penalty for the number of submissions. One final thing that I want to show is this time that is ticking at the right top. So this exam, this demo mock exam was set up for 1 hour and it's almost 9 minutes into the exam. So it's counting down. When the time goes to 0, your examination will stop. You will not be allowed to make any submissions thereafter. So the key thing for you to remember is make your submissions and move on to the other questions and keep solving them. Don't accumulate all of them and try to make submissions in the last minute, because these submissions are going to take some time to evaluate. We will have hard test cases at the back end and your program is going to take time to solve these problems. So it's better that as and when you are done with the problem, you make the submissions, ensure that your submissions pass the public test cases at least, and then move on to the other questions. Don't pile up all the questions for one last minute submission, because it is very unlikely that if you make 4 submissions in the last minute it will work. So the systems also have their limitations, so you have to be cognizant of that. So the last thing I want to tell you is this: in the question window on the left side, you see text here, right? This is giving the description of the question. You are allowed to type only in the editor window. You do any keyboard action outside this editor window here. Let's say I try to do Control C just below this question number or anything like that, the system is going to kick you out of the examination. So I will show you at the end, but it will kick you out of the examination. You will need the invigilator to come back and restart the exam. You are going to waste your time and it's going to be a painful process. So just remember that your editing can happen only within the edit window. All your keyboard actions should be contained only in the edit window. Do not do any keyboard actions or block pieces of text or anything outside the window. So these are the simple instructions that I wanted to give you. So again, the debugger is something that's useful because it's going to save the files on the local disk. Even if you close this, right, let's say I close the debugger window, if I start so it then goes back to the screen here where the start debugger comes. So again you can open the debugger, open the file. So I opened a file called trial.c. You can open that and you will notice that it has come back to the same program that we had. So this gives you access to the files that you have. So just remember that this window, the small window, is always going to stay on top. You can move it anywhere you want, but it's going to stay on top. So finally, let me show you how to use the keyboard and get kicked out of the exam. So if all goes well, your time will run out and eventually you will not be able to do anything anymore. However, if you do anything like this, let's say I am in the left window and I do Control C, right? You will get this message. You have touched the keyboard, you will be logged out now. You have to call the invigilator to resume your test. So you probably don't want to get into a situation like this. So ensure that you are staying only within the editor window or the debugger that you have opened. Don't do any keyboard actions outside this. So this exam platform is slightly different from what you have used in the used during your assignments. So please pay attention to that. And the exam will have only 4 questions. It will run for 3 hours. So I suggest that you take the easiest question to the hardest question, one at a time, solve the problem, make your submissions, and then move on to the other questions and so on. And finally, we from the NPTEL team wish you all the best for your exam and have a good day. Thank you and bye bye.